The sun is not merely a celestial body here. It is a hammer hanging directly overhead. It is a blinding white wound in the sky, beating against the earth with relentless violence. It strikes the land until the soil fractures, screaming in absolute silence. Here, the rivers have turned to ghosts, leaving only scars upon the landscape. Reality itself seems to melt and buckle under the crushing thermal weight. In this world, water is not merely a resource. It is currency. It is a prize worth more than blood. And it is disappearing by the hour. What was once a rushing tributary has been reduced to a stagnating brown vein. The banks are crusted with chemical salt, a tombstone marking where the water stood weeks ago. To approach this place is to gamble with existence. It is the only salvation for miles, and therefore the most dangerous place on the planet. A mound of red earth lies near the muddy edge. It is motionless. Covered in dust that masks its form, the killer becomes the land itself. He is the apex of the Triassic design, a walking fortress of bone and muscle. But here, waiting by the last shrinking vein of water, the king is a beggar. He does not move to kill. He waits. He has nowhere else to go. The lush, wet chaos of the Carnian pluvial event has ended. The rains have failed. The world is drying out, turning the swamps into kilns. The ground is a geometric tapestry of desiccation. The mud radiates heat upward, cooking the bellies of any creature foolish enough to lie down. The air tastes of copper and dust. It burns the lungs.
Every breath is a theft of moisture from the body. Silence here is heavy.
A thick blanket of tension, punctured only by the arrival of giants. Beetles seek shade in the fissures, while flies drink the moisture from the eyes of the dying. In this silence, sound carries for miles. A snapped twig is a thunderclap. A splash is a dinner bell. Bipedal, built of hollow bones and nervous energy. They are the future waiting in the wings, small, efficient, and endlessly hungry. They watch the water, but they watch the mound of red earth with greater intensity. But the mud surrounding the water is treacherous. It is not liquid, but a vicious, suctioning paste. A non-Newtonian trap that hardens when struck and yields only when pressed slowly. Furrows mark the struggles of previous visitors. Hoofprints and claw marks solidified into the clay tell stories of panic. The earth itself has become a predator. To drink is to risk being anchored to the spot where you will die. Through the shimmering distortion, shapes emerge. Bulky, barrel-chested, and ugly. A herd of placerias. These dicynodonts are the tanks of the Triassic, built low to the ground, armed with tusks that can shear through roots. They smell the water. The scent overrides their caution. The need to drink drives them forward, blinding them to the danger. The Postosuchus does not twitch. His camouflage is not a pattern, but the absolute cessation of movement.
Looks like a geological formation, a ridge of red stone jutting from the bank.
His stomach cramps with an emptiness that is almost physical pain. His throat is parched, but he denies the urge to drink. He locks his muscles in place. To move too soon is to starve. You must wait until the trap is sealed, until the prey has reached the mire. Push and shove, breaking the surface of the sludge. Eyes closed for a fraction of a second in the ecstasy of hydration. The mud sucks at their legs, effectively welding them to the earth. One of the bulls lifts his head. He stares directly at the mound of red earth. The predator's pupil constricts. He stops breathing entirely. The air in his lungs becomes a boiling force he must hold down. The bull stares, but the scent is masked by the stench of rotting mud. The sun shifts, casting the Postosuchus in a long, basalt black shadow. Shadow touches them before the teeth do. Dark omen sliding across the red water. Now. Statue explodes!
Postosuchus fires his muscles, transforming potential energy into violence.
His rear legs, thick pillars of muscle, drive into the earth. He does not bite immediately. He rams. He uses his skull like a battering ram, slamming into the flank. Impact lifts the heavy herbivore, breaking the suction of the mud. It crashes into the water with a colossal spray of sludge. Chaos. The water boils. The mud blinds them both. Bull struggles, but the mire that held him now prevents his escape. Jaws lock. The serrated teeth saw through the tough hide. The herd scatters, abandoning their kin to the king. Energy fades. The struggle becomes a waiting game of oxygen. He holds the neck down into the mud. Gravity does the rest. The desert claims another tribute. Under the cold light of the moon, the feast begins. He eats quickly. He knows he is vulnerable when his head is down. Scavengers gather at the edge of the light. But tonight, they will not dare approach. The energy of the Placeres becomes the energy of the Postosuchus. By dawn, the king has returned to the shadows. The little ones inherit the scraps. The cycle of the drought continues. The water recedes further. The mud hardens, preserving the footprints of the struggle.
A story written in clay, destined to become stone.
Eras pass. The swamps return, then vanish. The mountains rise.
The king and his prey are locked forever in the red rock.
We find them eons later.
Teeth that once severed arteries are now brittle stone.
The stage remains, though the actors have changed.
The heat is the only eternal thing in this landscape. He was the salt-crusted king. A ghost in the geologic strata. A memory of a time when the world burned and the earth remembers. The apex predator of the Triassic, the salt-crusted king.